Welcome back to the news at 10. Over 15,000 ghost pensioners have been removed from the federal government's payroll, saving over 300 million naira on a monthly basis. This is according to the Executive Secretary of the Pensions Transitional Arrangement Directorate, Mrs. Sharon Ikiazo, who explained that the Directorate is carrying out a pensioners' verification exercise across the country. Mrs. Ikiazo added that more will be weeded out when the exercise is concluded in the Southwest in July this year.
Pt.3, in collaboration with ICPC and the banks, had removed 15,600 pensioners from their payroll that had no BVN. But for genuine pensioners that had BVN and were affected by this exercise, they have contacted us and we have asked them to bring in their bank BVN slip, the printout they get from the bank, and we payroll them back. Legacy pension funds amounting to 19,137,694,000 have remained in the custody of insurance companies. We have issued demand notices to the insurance companies for the transfer of the outstanding funds into our dedicated e-collection accounts. We opened the TSA account with the central bank for the recovery of these assets. The agency, amidst all its challenges, we continue steadfastly to pursue the improvement of the welfare of pensioners under our management.
That's all from Abuja. Back to you, Amarachi.
Thanks a lot, Ivy. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Benue State Command has been accused of abandoning a young boy in the course of being treated for gunshot wounds after an accidental discharge by men of the command. 17-year-old Godwin Agada was shot in Otupa during a civil unrest in the area. The victim's uncle is seeking refund of over 100,000 naira in medical bills from the NSCDC command, failing which, the family will take legal action.
17-year-old Godwin Agada is yet to be discharged from hospital following gunshot wounds to his side. He sustained the injuries during a civil unrest in Otukpa area of Benue State, while men of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps were trying to disperse protesters. It's alleged the shots were fired by officers of the Corps. While the NSCDC command is not denying the incident, the victim's family is unhappy over the way the hospital bills have been handled.
Since then, they brought him to the hospital. They have not done anything. That's why I wrote this letter to the state commandant asking them to come and take full responsibility of medical treatment and upkeep of the boy. And since then, they didn't do anything until my lawyer pressured again, and they now brought this letter, which does not even make any sense.
This is the command's version of the story.
Being that we are a security organization and our aim is to protect life and property, we did. We came to carry this boy, whoever he might be, and took him to a clinic there. And then my area commander paid a ton of 38 or 39,000 naira for the private clinic to handle him, to resuscitate him. And that was done. Now, is it because of the kind gesture of this being a security agency to rescue life that now we have been blackmailed that we are the people who shot them? Now, then who shot my men? Who beat my men with cutlass? Then it is my men who broke bottle to be my own colleague, to be their own colleague, to tear my own colleague.
Again, the family disagrees with the account of the NSCDC boss and threatens legal action if nothing is done.
What I'm asking the civil defense to do is come and take responsibility. This is life we're talking about. They swore an oath to protect life, not to end it. This is what has happened to my brother. They cannot just turn their back. It could be anybody.
It's been established that Godwin Agada was not part of the unrest. He was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Nevertheless, the NSCDC boss is appealing to youths to shun all forms of violence.
The police command of the Federal Capital Territory says it has arrested 5 notorious armed robbery suspects and a car-snatching syndicate. The FCT Police Commissioner, Mr. Musa Kimo, who presented these suspects to journalists, said they were arrested through the Interagency Collaboration Initiative of the command. He added that 8 locally made pistols used for the operation were recovered from the suspects.
As part of the interagency collaboration, the FCT Police Command has recorded a major feat with the arrest of the notorious gang leader of an armed robbery gang, Car Snatch Syndicate. That is the John Peter. The police operation also led to the recovery of 3 additional locally made pistols used for operation by the same gang. The prime suspect, that is John Peter, was arrested by police after he went into hiding on receipt of information that 4 members of his gang had been arrested on the 6th of March 2017.
Business News is next. Here's Melinda Akinlami.
Welcome to Business News. The Nigeria Export Processing Zones Authority says it's committed to the development of the $1.4 billion Lekki Deep Sea Port, located at the heart of the Lagos Free Trade Zone. The Managing Director of NEPZA, Mr. Benga Kuye, made the pledge during a working visit to South Korea and Singapore. During his trip to both countries, Mr. Kuye inspected the ongoing construction work of Total Upstream, Nigeria's Enigma floating production, storage and offloading unit, as well as the headquarters of Toleram Group, promoters of the Lekki Sea Port. Now, according to him, the multi-purpose deep sea port, when completed, is expected to be one of the most modern in the world, supporting the flourishing trade in Nigeria and other West African countries. The Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative says that the debt burden of the 36 states of the Federation has risen to 3.3 trillion naira as of 2016. This is contained in the 3rd edition of the NEITI Quarterly Review, which focuses on Federal Accounts Allocation Committee disbursement. According to the publication, Lagos, Delta, Osun and Akwa Ibom State top the debt chart with 1.2 trillion naira. On internally generated revenue, Lagos and Rivers State ranked the highest with 301.2 billion and 82.1 billion naira each, while Nasarawa State was the least with 2.09 billion naira as at 2016. The Central Bank of Nigeria has reviewed upwards the rate at which international money transfers are traded with Bureau de Change operators. Today, the financial regulator says the BDCs will purchase inward FX monies at 360 naira per dollar from IMTOs and sell to end users at 362 naira to the dollar, leaving a margin of 2 naira for the FX retailers. The BDC president, Mr. Aminu Gwadabe, tells Channels Television that the latest development will further the convergence of the Naira-dollar exchange rate at the market. Some company news now. FCMB Group today announces an earnings per share of 72 kobo for the 2016 financial year, and that's up from 24 kobo reported last year. The non-operating financial holding company recommends a cash dividend of 10 kobo per share to shareholders. The group reports a total gross revenue of 176.35 billion naira for the year under review, while the group's pre-tax profit jumped to 16.25 billion naira and net profit is at 14.33 billion naira. Sell-offs by major industrial bellwether stocks, especially Dangote Cement, pushed the stock market down by 31 basis points at the close of today's trading. Visi Adebayo tells us more.
Tuesday
Tuesday's trading on the NSE saw profit taking erase previous gains in total market value by over 2 billion naira and a 0.31% drop from the all-share index. Well, in spite of the decline in the key benchmark indicators, investors' appetite for shares soared higher, with 916.26 million traded in 3,342 transactions for over 2.41 billion naira. On the other hand, the positive price gap failed to lift market sentiment as price losses from 14 losers comprising Ecobank Transnational, Law Union in Rock and Total led the downturn against the gains recorded by Seplat, Custodian and Allied and international bureaus. Niger Insurance attracted the single highest volume from the overall turnover, pulling more than 724.31 million shares on Tuesday. And that's it on the stock market reports. I am BC Adebayo.
Many thanks, BC. Most of the world's leading stock markets are back in the green today as investors shrug off President Trump's ability to deliver on his campaign promises. These are the numbers. That's business news. It's back to you, Amarachi.
You first. First Bank.
The fall of the naira and the subsequent slide of the Nigerian economy into recession are some of the factors that pose a challenge to business growth in 2016. In the face of these obstacles, Afriland Properties PLC, a real estate development firm involved in end-to-end value chain of the real estate sector, weathered the storm by diversifying its investments. At its fourth annual general meeting held in Lagos today, the company announced its intention to consolidate on the gains of 2016 and ensure more shareholders' participation in the new year.
This large hall is filled with shareholders of Afriland Properties PLC.
Before the AGM.
There are presentations from members of the board of directors as well as auditors reviewing the company's performance in 2016. The company continues to diversify in spite of the economic downturn.
I'm happy to inform you that since my promise of last year, we've launched AfriShops. AfriShops will be available for purchase, long lease, in areas that are affordable. Having said that, please don't think for an instant that Afriland is reducing its standard with these lock-up shops. No, we are still working hard. I will ask you to take a trip to Marina, have a look at Raymond House, and see what your company is doing in Raymond House.
The hardship in the economy occasioned by the slide of the naira in 2016 may have affected the company's overall performance, but Afriland was able to manage the fluctuations in foreign exchange, post a profit, and offered shareholders a bonus of 1 ordinary share for every 10 shares held.
2016 was a hard year for everybody, so our strategy was more of trying to manage situations the best possible way for the shareholders.
So rather than, center all our energy on big projects, we started to look at our portfolio and optimize them, try and improve the rental incomes we were getting. We also started doing full facilities management in our properties. So we kind of kept the fees in-house.
Yeah, shareholders are very delighted, knowing fully well the economic situation we had, the recession. But for a company that has consistent dividend payout, to equally, out of the little they have made, give out bonus, we appreciate.
Directors and shareholders alike are looking forward to 2017 with hope, encouraged by the investments they see on ground and those that have been promised.
The Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Kayode Fayemi, says the federal government is moving swiftly to check illegal mining activities in rural communities across the country. Our correspondent, Adjurin Galali, has more.
Weak regulation, low tax compliance, and corrupt administration locally and nationally over time have equated to mega profits for not only illegal miners, but for large corporations that exploit solid minerals for industrial use without remitting royalties to government. The Nigerian Senate estimates that 4 trillion naira is lost to both foreign and indigenous illegal miners annually, while 500,000 illegal miners operating locally evade Nigerian tax authorities each year.
And in line with this,
addressing the nation's Professional Mining Association, Minister of Solid Minerals Kayode Fayemi says these trends are now being reversed.
We really need to be able to organize them and ensure that we incentivize them to turn these very, very rudimentary approaches to mining to a much more modern technique that would add value to the sector. We're collaborating with the Office of the National Security Advisor, the Department of State Security.
European Union Ambassador to Nigeria, Michel Arion, says national revenues will only increase with current measures being taken.
Why should I invest in Nigeria and not in Malaysia? Why in Nigeria and not next door? I don't know, in Cameroon or in Niger, or in South Africa, or in Namibia, or in Zambia. So you are in competition with your African brothers.
According to observers, like solid minerals, Nigeria's prospects are only just beginning to be tapped. But policy sustenance across time and politics will determine whether full realization is obtainable. Ajuri Ngelale, Channels Television News.